Guys, this is Astranox. Today I'm going to be doing a guide review for Furious. I'm going to talk about multiple things, where he shines, which artifact you should run on him, what type of gear, the stats you're looking for, and also what type of team composition you could be running him with. I'm going to be talking about in Wyvern. So let's begin with his skill multipliers. Skill 1 is 187%. His skill 3 is 308%, and when you soul burn, it's 365%. So the way you're gonna build him is you want Daydream Joker on him for a 3-man Wyvern setup, and I'll explain why. In a 4-man setup, it could be Wyvern, it could be some other PvE content. I mean, it could be in the Hall of Trials. You could definitely build him with Song of the Stars, the 5-star artifact, so he can apply the target debuff on the enemy, so it increases the damage output of your team. So let me first start with his stats real quick here. So his attack is, I mean, it's not so high. His HP is good, his speed is quite good, defense is alright. Now you obtain him from doing the connection, or you summon him. So he's definitely a free-to-play friendly hero, and if like you compare him to a hero like Tarnar Guard, which is heavily used in Wyvern. I've done extensive amounts of videos for Tarnar Guard in the past. You can definitely like replace Tarnar Guard with him. I mean, the uptime on the defense down debuff is gonna be quite good, 3-turn cooldown. The issue I have with this hero is you're gonna have to think about it. Like, do you want to use him in other areas of the game? Because you will have to invest quite a bit of more Lagoras into him, and he's a 4-star hero, so it will require quite a few of them. So to get the 100% chance to defense down for 2 turns, you actually need to get this thing to +6. So I guess what you could do is just bring it to +4, and that could be good enough, you know, because you want that -1 turn cooldown, and at least get it to +4. Now for this thing, you definitely need to power this up. The big thing about this skill is that when he uses it, it doesn't consume a turn. I'll show you in a few minutes, but it doesn't consume a turn. So basically with the skill enhance, it's a 2 turn out of 3 that he will have this buff. And if you build him very fast, faster than your team, which is the way you should do it, he's gonna apply defense down on the target before the rest of your damage dealers go. That is assuming you have the cooldown up and ready to go. But the AI actually uses skill 3 before skill 2. It is unfortunate, of course, because this thing grants you an extra turn. So it's kind of dumb, but I mean, he's free. We can't complain so much, right? So now I want to talk about where he shines. I can say for sure that in Wyvern 11, right? Whatever Wyvern, but Wyvern 11, let's talk about that one. 3-man setup could be, I mean, it could be Angelica in the front line with him and Alexa, right? That would deal a lot of damage, or Tarnar Guard instead of Alexa. But if I went for maximum amount of damage, I would say that yeah, Alexa would be better suited. But if you build Tarnar Guard, he can be used in more areas of the game, so it might be just smarter. Like you will not do the runs will not be as fast as if it was Alexa. But yeah, now I want to talk about the fact that you've got this crit buff, which is a 50% crit chance increase for your whole team. Now, what is really cool is that you can actually build your team around that. You can have a dedicated Wyvern 11 team, which would be like Furious. Let's say you start with a 4-man, right? It could be him with Alexa, and both of them will only need 35% crit chance on them, like from the base plus the gear. You only need 35% crit chance. If you have memory imprint, maybe your other damage dealer or your other damage dealers will need even less crit chance because of that. The memory imprint doesn't affect the own hero for now, but they're working on something to so it affects the own hero, maybe with a reduction or something. Anyways, that's really cool that you can design your Wyvern 11 team around him. So since you're going to be saving a lot of value, since you don't need to build so much crit chance across your characters, you can just invest more into crit damage, and with Daydream Joker you're going to deal a ton of damage to the boss. So that's really good. Now for artifact 3-man, I'm saying like Daydream Joker because you're not gonna use, like if you're going with Song of the Stars, it will not be worth it. It's gonna be him plus another damage dealer. It's not worth it. But in a 4-man setup, it gains more value, and like he's not gonna be doing damage all the time. He's gonna be some turns he's gonna be buffing, so he's not gonna be your main damage dealer. So for gear, you would go speed set plus hit set. That would be the most effective way to go about it. And for the necklace, you go crit damage, because I mean you get your crit chance so easily. For the ring, you go attack percentage, and the boots, you go speed. You want 55% effectiveness when you're doing any type of PvE content. When you press the portrait of the boss, if you see that their effect resistance is 70%, you counter that with 55% effectiveness. There's always 15% that you cannot counter. So in most PvE encounters, you need 55. So the crit chance, like I said, you only need 35% crit, which is really good. And like I said, you want to make him faster than your main damage dealer or dealers, because you want him to like apply defense down, you want him to buff as well, so there's that. Now, the way you build him with Daydream Joker is you go crazy on the crit damage, you go as high speed as you can, and you get that 55% effectiveness. You will be able to get crit damage if possible on all your piece, and it's going to be hard to actually get that gear, because like getting really high crit damage rolls on each piece is definitely hard, but it could be a goal of yours. And these pieces can always be useful on other heroes later on anyways. And you don't have to work too much on attack. On him specifically, you don't need to worry about attack. I've done Wyvern 11 with Alexa as a 4-star unit. It's about Daydream Joker scaling your crit damage as high as possible, getting as much speed as possible, and that's it. Her skill 1, when it crits, she gets an extra turn. Now you really want to make him faster than the rest of your team, so you have a potentially 100% uptime on his buff, this thing. Of course, for himself, there will be one turn where he doesn't have it, or maybe 2 turns. Let's say this thing is like maybe he was about to use this thing, but this thing is off cooldown at the same time. He will prioritize this thing before using skill 2, so there is that. But like when he uses that, you see that the buff duration is 2 turns, even though he gets an extra turn. So that's really cool, and that's why you can really go crazy with crit damage. Don't have to worry too much about crit chance, because I mean he already has 23% crit chance, so you only need 12% crit chance on him. That's it from his gear. It's so little. Here's the animation for the defense down S3. Yeah, it's weird. He's doing a bunch of fire abilities when he's ice. Yeah. So, but anyways, it's a good hero. It's a very good hero, especially since he is free. Get him from the connection. Can't complain. And let's say, yeah, you could definitely pair him with other damage dealers. Like it could be a Karen. It could be a Seaside Bellona. I mean, I'm not gonna talk too much about limited heroes like Luna and stuff like that, but yeah, like you can pair him with another ice damage dealer that you will use in multiple areas of the game, because that's what it comes down to. And for this hero, for Furious, like you can use him in Guild Wars, you can use him in Hall of Trials, you can use him in Arena, but I think like really where he's gonna shine the most will be in Wyvern, because he's ice, because of his whole kit, the defense down and all that. His multiplier, I mean, skill 1 is the usual, 187%. Skill 3 is good. I mean, you're not going to be soul burning when you auto, but it's an extra source of damage. But you don't have to worry about skill multipliers and attack, because it all comes down to Daydream Joker, as much crit damage, as much speed as possible, and just going crazy on the boss. And you can do the same on your other heroes with very, very little investment in crit chance, because you will rely on this buff. And that's why you could have, I mean, if your front line is solid, let's say it's your Angelica, it could be Angelic Montmorency in the front line. Well, you at the start, you could 4-man with your fourth could be another healer. It could just be Ether. He will just provide the missing amount of HP that you need for your frontliner. So it could be Angelica, it could be Angelic Montmorency, and it will be very easy, because you don't have to worry about your backline taking damage, because you always know it's the frontliner that will take damage until he tail swipe. And of course you need to break the barrier, or you will take a lot of damage. But even that damage can be tanked if you have attack break on the boss. Very easy to tank, especially as ice. But to be honest, it wouldn't be hard to actually have enough damage for you to break the barrier. Maybe your runs are not 100% chance. Maybe your luck is bad during your run. You don't land defense down. Maybe, I don't know, maybe defense down lands. Your auto damage dealer is about to like do a lot of damage, but yeah, no defense down, and they don't have the crit chance buff. So they have their base of 35% with their gear, plus they're getting a 15% bonus because they are at elemental advantage. So they only have 50% crit chance, and it just doesn't pan out. But it's fine, you don't lose energy, you can just do your run again. So I would say that let's say in Guild Wars, you can use them because it's a small format, 3v3. You could do something like, I mean, you could just, that's the thing though. You bring him, but you don't want him to be focused. Of course, you will not bring him against Earth enemies, because they will just focus him down and kill him. Unless there are supports, then he can just tank the damage. But you will bring him against fire heroes that don't have too much cleave, and you could go, let's say, with a double damage dealer, him included in the comp, plus some sustain, and he would be the one that just like applies defense down, and then you pop this thing. You have your crit chance boost. Maybe your other hero only has 50% crit chance with high crit damage and attack, and then you just pop their support, things like that. I mean, he can definitely be viable there. Hall of Trials, that is where he can really set up some pretty crazy damage during the weekend phase, because you can have a team that will rely heavily on this buff here. 50% crit chance is so much value, and you can just wait, save this thing. When you are in the weekend phase, you like pop this thing, you're manualing, and this is nuts. You're getting 50% crit chance and on your whole team, and then you're applying defense down. What a start to a weekend phase. If you get him to go first, man, you can do some insane amount of damage, because if you tweak your team to only have 50% crit chance, or even 35% crit chance if you are at elemental advantage, because you're getting 15% for free, yeah, the damage will be crazy. So yeah, remember that, and if you're building him, think about him, that, I mean, he can definitely be used in there. And also in the arena, I mean, you could do it, but to be honest, like, just the crit chance buff by itself, I mean, it's like it's not Challenger Domino OP, but yeah, I mean, he has that in his kit, and paired with defense down, you could bring him against like tankier group compositions. If they have, I don't know, a lot of fire heroes, if they have a fire damage dealer and their support are like ice, they don't have like earth, or not, at least they're just supports, then you could bring him, and he could be that hero that if you build the rest of your team around him with low crit chance, and yeah, that defense down plus the boost would be quite ridiculous to set up some kills. But he's gonna be quite niche in arena anyways. In Guild Wars, I can see him having more play, but it really comes down to Wyvern 11 and Hall of Trials, especially if Ranger are dealing more damage. That would definitely make him, like, give him more value there. So that's pretty much all I have to say about him. But yeah, I mean, you can think about him if you're struggling in Wyvern 11. He can definitely be a great hero to invest in, since he is free. I mean, it's a no-brainer really, and using him You could even go with a front, if your frontliner can just survive up until the barrier, you could even go with a triple offense. It could be a 4-man, Angelica in the front line, even you could have Angelic Montmorency survive, or you could have a really tanky Knight in the front line and 3 damage dealers. Because if you build your team around him with, let's say, just like Tarnogard and Alexa, and they have 35% crit chance, you can really go crazy on that crit damage and on the speed on your team, and yeah, that 55% effectiveness, of course, and you will murder the boss. You will murder him, and you just need to, like I said, survive until the barrier. If you're using a Soul Weaver in the front line, they might be able to like top themselves off during the barrier phase, and then you're good to go for a few attacks after. But even then, there's so many runs when I'm 3-manning with Angelica, Tarnogard, and Alexa, where like my Angelica just dies, but like shortly after, Tarnogard or Alexa, like both together are surviving, they kill him, or maybe there's just TG or Alexa that's alive and they land a killing blow. But it doesn't matter, because if you have a decent success rate, and even if you're failing, you're not losing any energy, so there's that. So it's all good. You can just retry, and your runs are going to be fast anyways, so it's all good. All right, so that's pretty much it for this one. Just to show you guys the artifact here, Ranger. I guess I could talk more about the other artifacts you can run in different scenarios, right? Because Daydream Choker is more for PvE. And this thing, I mean, when it's maxed out, of course it will not be, but let's say it's a plus 15, so it's 75% chance to target the enemy for 2 turns, and it will boost the damage output of your team, which is really good. Bloodstone, really, that's not really a hero for Bloodstone. It could bring you some sustain. Sword of Judgment, though, like in PvP, this could be very dangerous. Like really, really dangerous. If you trigger this thing, if it's plus 15, you get 15% chance. Like imagine, you're using skill 2 to boost your crit chance, and then you're getting an extra turn, you're using S3, you land defense down, and then boom, the target survives, you have defense down, and this thing triggers, you're doing skill 1. That target will take so much damage, it's going to be ridiculous, but it's a chance, and it could be your window in Guild War against a really like tanky support that just doesn't want to die. This could be your window to just take him out. By himself, he could do it. He could definitely do it by himself, but yeah, it's a 15 to 20% chance, so you can't really rely on that too much. Of course, you've got other options like the Infinity Basket, so this increases the all your allies dual attack chance during the caster's turn. Very solid artifact. I would use that in PvP for sure. But the thing is, during the caster's turn, so something that, because I mean, that's the problem. It increases the dual attack chance of your allies, and like if he doesn't use skill 1 too much, so this loses value. I would say that like a Rosa Hargana would probably be better if you yeah, that would be better because it increases his dual attack chance when your allies are going. But it depends on whatever scenario. He could even wear Sash Itanes in PvP to boost combat readiness for the rest of your team and himself. So yeah, different setups. Anyways, that's it for this one, guys. Thanks for watching. I'm Astranox. Like, comment, subscribe for more. Press the bell icon for to be notified whenever I release a new video. And check out my audio videos. They should be showing up on the screen now. Playlists of all sorts. Arena, Guild Wars, guides, tips, and how-tos, and Abyss 462+. So check those out if you haven't. And also join my Discord server. It's in the description. Come have a chat with us and have fun about Epic 7 or other games. There is a channel for that. So just looking at my list here, yeah, that's really it for this one. Peace out for now, guys, and have fun.